Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Catrice Greer. I'm a literary artist based in Baltimore. We'll wait 1 minute and then we will begin. It is now it is now 2:15 and just a minute. We'll wait for people to come in. Thank you.
Is, has it started yet?
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for coming into the green for ecotherapy and poetry, Brian and April. My name is Catrice Greer. I'm a literary artist based out of Baltimore, Maryland, and I hope you will enjoy our poetry session today. It is ecotherapy and poetry, so let's begin. Just want to pop up my screen for you so you can see my PowerPoint. Well, keynote. So, first things first, it is called Into the Green, and it is the co healing power of green spaces and writing for wellness and well being. This particular poetry session is trauma informed, so there is going to be some trauma talk and coping skill mechanism talk in this session. You might ask, why ecotherapy? Well, there are plenty of groups at this time there are plenty of spaces and groups at this time that are giving prescriptions, especially overseas, to go out and be in nature and let nature be one of the healing modalities. It is not in lieu of therapy, but it is alongside. It is one of the many things we do to take care of ourselves. And one of the places I will focus on today is Silburn Arboretum. It is one of the green spaces here in Baltimore, and that is accessible, and I will be mentioning that today. I do want to say, for people who are visually impaired, I wanted to give a description of myself so that you will know who I am and how to identify me. So I'm a brown-skinned woman with bronze and brown hair, shoulder length. It's a wig. I'm wearing gray glasses with speckled frames. My skin is almond, and I'm wearing a green V-neck sweater. I love nature, so I'm also wearing a pendant that is made out of resin. It is amber. So thank you all for coming today. I see people filing in, and I'm really grateful that you are here. I hope that you have a pen, pencil, and paper, or your computer or notes app, because we're going to do a little writing today. So, one of the things that I wanted to cover today with Into the Green is to also say that I am a BIPOC writer. Who am I? I am a literary based writer. My bio is in hoover up, so I won't spend a lot of time on me today. I want to make sure that I get these pieces into the session. But I am a literary artist living on Piscataway land in Baltimore, Maryland, and I do write a number of things, one of which includes poetry. I'm BIPOC, which means I am Black, Indigenous, person of color. I am also a woman with disabilities, physical disabilities, seen and unseen, chronic illnesses, and I manage mental health, anxiety, depression, dissociative disorder. I share that because nature has been very integral in my well-being as well as regular therapy, and I'd like to share that with you today because it plays a large role in how I approach writing poetry, and I'm going to teach a few skills to you today. Now, what I'd like to do is show you some things about nature that make me happy. So when I know that getting out and about to local green spaces isn't always feasible for every person. Some people living here are incapacitated in different ways, and I don't want you to feel left out of the conversation. I was on a walker for a number of years, using a walker in order to walk before I went to my cane. So I want to share first and foremost how that works for me and how that plays a role in my approach to writing. So if you can see the screen, you'll see a few pictures up. You'll see my fiddly fig that started to blossom in my home. You'll see in the upper right hand corner my Christmas cactus that started to bloom. I bring the green space into my home. So if I'm not able to go outside, if I'm incapacitated for any reason, then I have green to contemplate on, to think about, to interact with. I also use food scraps like the lettuce that you see in the lower right hand corner in order to grow my own garden inside. Why is this important? Because it keeps me attuned to my senses, particularly as a writer. And given that I'm inspired by nature, it shows up in my writing. When I look outside and I'm not able to go outdoors as a writer or as a human being, even when I'm managing mental health or physical disabilities, this is the view that I see. I take pictures of every season. This is on the left-hand side. You will see my view from where I live in the summer. The upper right-hand corner is the same view panoramically in the fall, and the lower right-hand corner is the same view, but slightly on an angle on my balcony, and that is winter. These things keep me inspired and learning about change. It keeps me intrinsically in tune to my environment. That's important for mental health because it always underscores for me that to be comfortable with change, not to always accept it and feel despair, but be comfortable with change. And when I describe that in my work, you'll see also in your own writing that that is important, to be able to note change. In these photos, these are photos, two of them are photos of Silburn. One is a photo of Silburn's Arboretum grounds in the winter of 2017. As you can see, the burrs on the tops, everything is gone, all the greenery is gone. It is wintry. However, one of the things you can see there is that there's a cluster. Some people may interpret the photo as anxiety-ridden, but then it can also be interpreted positively as community. And that is something that shows up in writing. That is something that we want to connect to in our local green spaces, community, no matter the season. The upper right-hand corner is a photo of one of the Silburn's many beautiful, beautiful gardens. Beautiful gardens. And the lower right hand photo is of another green space that's close to me, right outside my window in the summer. And I contemplate on these because what they have in common are clusters. When we're writing, we are looking at details, and being part of the environment is what part of what ecotherapy is about. It is getting out into nature, connecting with it. And I'm bringing these photos into the conversation because people who are not able to go outside, not able to stand in the local green spaces, I want people to feel included. I want this to be disability accessible and these concepts. The next cluster of photos is bamboo from the bamboo forest. In the left-hand side, the upper right-hand side is where I had already, at my home, regrew several spring onions in water, and then I planted them. The lower right-hand corner is of several birds. Don't ask me what kind, but you can ask our brilliant naturalists at Silburn Arboretum, and I bet you they could tell you. But I captured one of those photos, and that was sometime in 2016. But what is in common in these photos and what we do with health and in poetry is to notice the relationships between everything. Sometimes when people are feeling very lonely, it helps to be able to notice the relationships in nature and know that we have an even exchange always. We are breathing carbon dioxide out, they're giving us oxygen, we are always having a relationship. And in these photos, there is a consistency of that relationship. There is support. Even in nature, it is reflected as support. So whether people have support systems of their own or they are viewing support in nature, these things can impact mental health positively, but also impact your own writing as a writer, where it will show up reflectively of what you've observed and how you feel. One of the grounding techniques I'd like to bring into practice before we get to our writing today is called the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. I am a survivor of assaults, domestic violence, extreme violence. I'm a witness to those things. So when I bring that up, I say that to say that these grounding techniques can help you with trauma. I cannot say that as a clinician, but I can say that for me. It is very helpful for me. But I also, there's a crisscross between these techniques and using them in your writing. 5 things you see, 5 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. As a writer, for me, when I am writing, having these senses alighted makes the writing more visceral. Instead of saying the wind blew, we would say the wind howled, something you can hear. The wind was biting against my skin as I walked through the path, something you can feel. So I'd like to keep these techniques in mind because it also, though this is a trauma grounding technique, it is very valuable in writing. And that is where the crisscross of being out in nature and observing, feeling, seeing, and simply being, these things impact us as human beings. During the pandemic, many people flocked to local green spaces for solace. People didn't want to be closed in, who were ambulatory, able to go out and enjoy their lives. And so being visual and taking in the surroundings was very important for many people to feel present. And feeling present is something that we do also in writing. In order to talk about the environment, in order to talk about emotions, it's important to be able to notice the environment around us. Just a moment. So on this particular slide, visual grounding. On this particular slide, visual grounding. We're looking at colors, shapes, shades of a certain color, dark, light, lime green, apple green, Kelly green, dark green, for example. Details, textures, smooth, rough, bark, veins on leaves, puckering, stippling, for example, on elements in nature. When we're walking along, what do we see? What do we feel? That is also very grounding when we're walking out in nature and you're trying to balance mental health and feel present. Visual grounding is also something that is a confluence, and we use that in our writing today. Before we get to our writing prompt, what I'd like to do in our writing exercise, we're almost there in a few minutes, and I'm talking a bit, but when we get to the writing prompt, I'll open things up and we'll go into gallery view. We'll write for 6 minutes or 7, and then we'll go into gallery view and do some sharing after the writing, and we'll be able to see each other. So bear with me for just a few minutes more. This poem is by a local writer, and he's someone that is particularly special to me. Our families have known each other since before we were born. His name is Raymond Cummings. He wrote this poem especially for Silburn Arboretum for this presentation today. I'd like to read Raymond's bio to you. Raymond Cummings resides in Owings Mills, Maryland. He's a 1999 graduate of Washington College. He is the author of books including Assembling the Lord, Crucial Sprawl, Open for Business, Notes on Idle, and Vigilante Fluxus. His writing has appeared in Spin, The Wire magazine, The Village Voice, Splice Today, and Baltimore City Paper. World Without End is his latest collection of poetry. It was independently published in January 2020. Here's what I want to tell you about Ray. Ray and I, our moms have known each other since before we were born. I've known Raymond for a very long time. He'll tell you I was his babysitter, but it's really more than that. Raymond has grown up to be an amazing man, father, and incredible writer and wonderful person. The other thing I'd like to share with you about Raymond is that he is the nephew of the late Congressman Elijah Cummings. So even in my own life, I've lost family members in the double digits during the pandemic, and we are all grieving. Ray comes to the Silburn Arboretum just like me. We are both members, but he has been coming long before he was a member as well, just enjoying the grounds and finding peace there. I'd like to read you the poem that he wrote before we get to our writing exercise, because this poem is for Silburn and it is written especially for Healing City, Baltimore, and I'm presenting it with Ray's permission today. It is called For Silburn Arboretum. On maps, woodland is represented by soft greens, webbed or thinly streaked with pale, curving blues, a biplane's pilot's view, omniscient and picturesque and true. The ingenue whips aside a velvet cape, and voila, nature is yours to love again. Up close or at a remove, one daydreaming finger grazing rendered valleys and boulevards, absent-mindedly rubbing a bottom lip. The great horned owl nods in agreement before turning his attention to more pressing concerns, a mouse, a stray leaf, bronzed gold. Where shall we emerge as if from some wan lucid dream, an intimate bamboo cloister, hushed and holy, a stream glimpsed here and there through the trees in opaque lengths of ice, one bench or two or three or five. For summer bathers, the mansion's fireplace crackles companionably against the winter's chill. On the mantel, one lone vase rose, a lyrical promise of spring. That is for Sylvan Arboretum by Raymond Cummings, who again is the nephew of the late Congressman Elijah Cummings, who spearheaded the Healing City Act, of which this conference was born. Legislators and grassroots orgs and many organizations in Baltimore decided to take action and move forward. And here we are today. These are a few photos of Sylvan Arboretum where we find respite. It is one of your local green spaces among many. Gwynn Oak area, Gwynn Oak Park, the Cary Nature Center, Druid Hill Park, which there's just so many, and I'm going to give you a resource list in the chat at the end of this talk, which is a digital list which has all of the resources and links so that you can find the local green space that is closest to you. Sorry, Brian, I just saw your chat question. I hope me reading it out was helpful. I didn't see it at first. What I'd like to do is say briefly, we're going to get ready to go into our writing exercise, and I thank you all for coming today. I just want to say that. Thank you so very much. If this workshop helps even one person viewing it today, present, or viewing it later, I have done what I came to do and to share, and hopefully this will be helpful to any writers, whether you're a poet, professional poet, amateur poet, someone that writes in your journal, that you need to write your feelings. Trauma in Baltimore is significant, and sometimes you just need to be able to say what you can in a safe space, and that might be your journal. But also, I'm positing today that safe spaces are also our local green spaces where you can feel free, and or where people can feel free. I know I do, and as a person of color, that is not always possible in many spaces here. Sometimes the feeling is that you don't belong. So these green spaces, for me, have always felt like freedom. So what we're going to do as an exercise today before we close out is imagery replacement. So I'm going to play a series of videos for you for sensory imagery. You've seen some images earlier of community in nature, of support, of changing times and seasons, and this relates to mental health, the changes with mental health, the need for community support, the need for community in general. And when we commune with it, we can feel free and part of the world, even if feeling part of the world when we're with other people is kind of hard. So I hope this is helpful. The first exercise we'll do, and I'd like you to keep in mind, is an imagery replacement. Again, I'm not a clinician, but I can share what works for me. So it's inhaling and exhaling slowly. And when you inhale, breathe through the nose, and you're thinking of, let's say you had a bad day today and you're thinking of that thought. And when you exhale, let's say we're thinking this is going to go horribly, I'm so scared, and you inhale, and then you exhale, or I exhale, and breathe through the mouth and release that negative imagery in my head, those negative thoughts. So inhale, exhale, breathe it out. Hold that thought now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a series of videos, but I'm also going to share a series of affirmations while I'm playing the videos for you to contemplate. Once I finish those affirmations, I'm going to read a few sentences of something I wrote for you to consider, and then give you the writing prompt. You write for 6 minutes, and then at the end of the writing prompt, or just share feedback, and then at the end of the writing prompt, we will share feedback, share what you wrote. Feel free to do that. So let's begin. bear with me. I'm going to pull your affirmations forward so that they can be heard. Okay. This first video is of what you'll see are two videos. The first on the left is Silburn's bamboo forest. I want you to hear how it feels to be there. Imagine yourself there. Feel the feelings that may come up for you and hold on to those thoughts. We're going to use them in the writing. The bottom photo is a video. It's 16 seconds long. You'll hear the rustling of the leaves. Feel, see, hear. Think of what we talked about earlier with our sensory prompts, the 5 things, the 5 senses. Seeing, hearing, feeling, touching. And in this case, taste might not apply, but see what it brings up. Let it alight your senses. The top photo is of lamb's ear, and that is from either 2016 or 2017 during the winter at Silburn. Think about how soft that must feel. Think about the ice, the difference in the contrast. Think about those things as I read the affirmations. We will use those senses in the prompts. I'm not sure if I can hear that. Hold on, let me make sure that I have screen shared it so that you can hear it. I'm not sure I can hear those sounds, but let's keep going. And what I'm going to say is watch this video through. I'm going to read the affirmations and imagine yourself there. Imagine the breeze blowing. The affirmation: every organic cell of me belongs in peaceful community with this natural space. I am safe inside of my body. My soul belongs here. My soul is free. I am freedom. Let's go to our next video. Inhale in, exhale. And if you're able to hear that on your end, great. If you're not, imagine the space and imagine the breeze and use your senses. Imagine being safe there. Imagine belonging there. Feel your feet standing on the pad as you look and take in all of the senses around you, the breeze, the colors of the leaves, the sky. Now, what I'd like to do is read you one piece here and give you a writing prompt. You write for about, let's say, 5 minutes, and based on this prompt. I've written something for today, and then we'll go to the prompt. Where is the place where you find solace? Where nature meets us as family and not foe? Is it where the trees bend in the wind, touching leaves in silence? Is it where the woodland animals frolic, leaping from branch to branch? Rustle the leaves in playful somersaults, or soar above and through the lush canopies as whistling sentries, calling forth the lush. the hush, into the green, into the green. Into the green we go. Where do you find solace? I'd like you to consider that in your writing prompt. Consider the senses that you felt looking at the videos of the bamboo forest, hearing the wind of the bamboo in the forest, the rustling leaves. Think about walking and being in support and community with the tree holding and the bamboo holding it, or seemingly, and the birds talking, and feeling that you are part of that community as you walk through your natural spaces. The writing prompt is, here is the place where I find solace. We'll take 5 minutes for that prompt, and I will let you know when 5 minutes is up, and we will share either what you've written or some feedback, and I'll leave the writing prompt up so that you can see it. It is, here is the place where I find solace. So that's our time, and we have just a few minutes to share. I'd love to hear what you have if anyone would like to share. And I'm going to put this in gallery view so we can see each other. Thank you for coming. This is lovely and very intimate. And I suspect if my dear friends, national and international friends, hello Mose and Brian and Erica and Patricia, thank you for coming. So I suspect maybe some other people may have had trouble getting in too, but I am glad that you were able to get in. I'm not sure what happened, but thank you so much. I'm so grateful. Brian, please share. Can you unmute yourself?
Thank you, Catrice. Hello, Mose. How you doing? From all the way from Ireland, no less. Wow.
Yeah, I came walking. That's why I'm so late. Yeah.
Where I find solace is where I hear the wind merge with leaves and birds flutter their wings in flight. Where pines drop needles and cones and release scent. Where the water rushes onto the shore only to change its mind and retreat back to where the fish exist and leave seaweed. Where is this? And leave seaweed. Where's the rest of that sentence? I'm sorry. And leave seaweed to carpet the wet sand haphazardly, a living impressionist image that never permanently stains the canvas of the earth in which it resides. You're muted, Catrice.
You're muted. Oh, yeah. Oh.
You're still muted.
Hmm. The sound doesn't work. That was beautiful, O'Brien. Anyway.
Well, thank you very much, Mose.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Yes.
excellent. My apologies. Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you so much. Very beautiful. Would anyone else like to share something you wrote or any input, any thoughts, feedback? I'd love to hear your voices.
Hi, Catrice.
Hi, Erica. Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm here at Silburn Arboretum, Patricia and I. And one thing that I wrote about that really is when I need to go to a place of solace in my mind, it's very consistently this place, which is, as a child, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and I grew up in Florida, and we'd be in the Gulf of Mexico. They lived right on the coast. And just this feeling of being in the warm water, just sitting with the people who loved me unconditionally. And it was almost like as warm as bath water. And so when I have a moment, so it's not very poetic, I'm not really great with words, but it's a feeling in a place that I go, just that brings me complete solace. Like it's the most wonderful feeling when I imagine just sitting in that warm water.
In the womb.
Yeah, it was womb-like. So.
That is wonderful. That is excellent. Hi,
Yeah.
Barbara.
And I did want to say about getting in very quickly before
Yes, please,
I mute,
please do.
that we did get a link to the Zoom, and so that was good, but we needed a passcode that wasn't provided. And so I think anyone who didn't know you personally, to ask you for the passcode, it was just kind of a glitch there.
Thank you for that. I will let the
Yeah, I had the same
organizers.
problem.
So I think, there may have been a queue of people waiting, but
Yes.
we wouldn't know. So did you?
Oh
want-
my heavens. I'll let the
Yeah.
organizers know. I didn't know that at all. So when you get your link, there was no passcode attached to it.
No, I wrote to him because I saw that you said that you would not communicate in advance, so I didn't use your email, and I wrote to Michael Wakefield or something, and he did first say, but you have to go through something on the website, and I hadn't registered, and I didn't, that took up so much time, and then he did send the passcode eventually.
I
So
will make
that's a quarter of an hour, and I almost have to go now because I'm hosting another meeting at the
understood. Thank you for coming. Thank you so
Yes, I
much for
enjoyed it.
coming.
Anytime you have another workshop, I'd love to do it properly, or we can
Perfect.
organize one for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank
Catrice.
you. Bye, Mose. And for
I'm a
anyone
fan.
who will watch this and this playback, just so that you know, March 4th, Silburn, right? There's a forest bath at Silburn on March 4th in person on Friday. So the party's not over. So if you want ecotherapy in person, go there and really feel what it feels like. There will be a tour guide there, and read more about it in the link. I popped my business card into the chat, and I'm going to share screen. I have a virtual business card, and I popped that into the chat.
Yeah, I've downloaded it. Thank you very much.
Yes. And I also put in the resource sheet, which includes information from Silburn and everything. And I'll make sure that it's hooked into my Hoover so that you'll be able to pull that up. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm so glad you came, and we have to wrap things up now. And thank you, Baltimore. I hope something I said today about ecotherapy and poetry resonates for you in the way you manage your mental health, your wellness, and well-being. Please, on the resource app, it includes links for some of our local green spaces, Silburn and Parks and Rec, and you can find the one local to you. Have a good day, everyone. Take care. Thank you for coming. Hi, Barbara. Barbara is my co-editor for Lapidus. We have to go now. They want me to finish on time. Love you much. Thank you.